It's a sure bet that placing bets at sporting events is coming to Plainridge Park Casino after the Massachusetts Gaming Commission unanimously approved a temporary license to the operation owned by Penn Entertainment. The commission stated concerns with Penn's plans to purchase Barstool Sports. I spoke to Plainville Town Administrator Brian Noble about sports betting at Plainridge and what it might mean for the town. So, Brian, good news for Plainridge Racecourse. I would think that's good news for the town of Plainville.
Anything that's good for Plainridge seems to benefit the town of Plainville. So we're happy to have them in town. They've been a good neighbor. They've been a part of our community and not apart from it. They've been a welcome contributor to the quality of life in this town.
People who haven't been following this story may not realize that the Massachusetts Gaming Commission had concerns. Penn National, which owns Plainridge, is apparently in the process of buying Barstool Sports. Why the concern on the part of Mass Gaming Commission, realizing you're not one of the commissioners?
Not one of the commissioners. I believe that there was a perception, whether rightly or wrongly, that Barstool was not an ethical partner. We disagree. We think that they're fine, and Plainridge partnering with Barstool seems a logical partnership. We think that that will be beneficial to us and the community and to the casino.
When Plainridge goes to the Gaming Commission to apply for a sports betting license or a full casino license, are you asked to testify? Do you weigh in? Do you submit any paperwork?
Every time that they go before the Gaming Commission, we have a representative from this town, whether it be a select member or myself or both, that will testify on behalf of Plainridge. That community support means a lot to the Gaming Commission. And as you know, they just renewed the horse race license, and we were all there, three selectmen and the town administrator there to support their proposal. And as we said before, they're a good corporate partner for the town. And what is good for Plainridge is good for our revenue.
Every month on North TV News, I report on the revenue, gross gaming revenue for Plainridge and the two full casinos in Massachusetts. Sports betting and horse racing, does that work the same way? Does Plainville get a portion of that as well?
We share in that revenue, not to the extent that we do for the regular slot revenue. However, they're very good at reporting in and sharing, and some months are good for them, some months are not. One of our concerns is making sure that we keep Plainridge competitive in the marketplace. And right now, we're arguing with the powers that be that we would like to see the license for Plainridge expanded further to maintain their competitive stature against the two casinos in Rhode Island.
Any progress being made there? I know you're not in the head of the gaming commissioners. I bet you wish you were in their heads. But any progress being made?
I think we're getting some attention on the issue. As you know, we have two full casinos in the state, but they're not convenient. In other words, they're right now in Everett or in Springfield. Those are not exactly next door. And we can see an awful lot of traffic heading down 95 that will pass us on the way to the two casinos in Rhode Island because of full table games. And I hate to see that revenue not only miss Plainridge, but also miss Massachusetts. So we're bringing this to the attention of the Gaming Commission that we're losing an opportunity that helps residents of Massachusetts, not only from a convenience of can you gamble here, but a revenue issue. The state shares in that revenue, and we're letting it go to Rhode Island.
New governor being sworn in pretty much as we speak. Might that make a difference, or does the governor have any say over what the Gaming Commission does?
The governor has the usual influence of a governor, and I think that the influence of Charlie Baker in the appointment of the Gaming Commission has been well-founded, and he made great choices, and we've gotten along quite well with the Gaming Commission. We find them easy and reasonable to deal with. So I get nothing but praise for the current Gaming Commission, and I'm assuming that based on the initial communications from the governor-elect, that will continue.
Any idea when Plain Ridge might start taking bets? I've heard possibly in time for the Super Bowl.
My understanding is in time for the Super Bowl. Yeah, we don't want to miss that opportunity. We encourage them to move as expeditiously as possible.
North Attleboro's town council met less than 8 hours after that interview with the superintendent to discuss the vote on the $2 million funding request for the feasibility study for a new or renovated and expanded high school. Residents and members of the council voiced their opinions before approving the funding, although the vote was not unanimous.
I went to a school committee meeting and I was amazed at the expenses that they were going to be looking at. What this town needs is a new elementary school.
We don't know if it's a new school. We don't know if it's a refit. Okay? So we need to take that step to find out where we are.
The schools I have been in, the ELC and Fall School, they are well maintained. I don't think the high school has air conditioning.
If we were to say no to this study, that would effectively end this project. We don't know the reimbursement rate at this point. That is actually part of the feasibility study. And we don't know, obviously, the scope of this project until we get this report back. $2 million was the number that the school department received from the MSBA as a kind of guideline to have that. This council had already put a good portion of that money away because we saw this project coming and we understood the need. The state has said no, again, to the elementary school projects, but they did say yes to the high school project.
My question would be, through you, is there a plan for the 13 million? Will we be able to address these important needs while we go through this 5-year process of building the school?
The building envelope study is just one study of many we're trying to tackle. I mean, we also need to look at our HVAC systems and a whole bunch of other things. I'm only doing that so we can get our arms at the school department, our arms around what our short and long-term needs are.
Rather than starting our negotiation at the top of the scale, we could start somewhere in the middle of the scale. I agree, we need this feasibility study. I'm not convinced that we need a $2 million feasible study.
We are not saying that we're spending $2 million on the study. That has to go out to bid. We will then get the bids back in and we will see how much this study could cost. I don't believe that if we put aside $2 million, every single one's going to come in at $2 million. I think that this is still going to be something which we'll have a chance to look at and we can make the decision then. So respectfully, I would decline to amend my motion at this time.
I guess what my question is the validity of whether or not we move forward with $2 million or 1.5. Like, I need to hear from somebody to tell me what's the pro and con going either way.
What we have to present to the MSBA is we have the funding to be able to do this. I think that's what we're saying on the table. That does not mean that we're automatically going to pay $2 million for this. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go back and say, you're the most qualified firm. Let's now discuss pricing and what we're willing to pay for that. But if you want to create a system where we have to come back multiple times, I think that only handicaps us. And maybe we don't get the firms that potentially would give us the best deal.
This will probably be one of the last big decisions I vote on here, and reflecting on my time when I first sat down in this room as a member of the Board of Selectmen and thinking about the kind of choices we made back then when we were paralyzed by our constraint by the budget and just thinking about survival instead of growth. The voters of this town have shown again and again their commitment to moving in a new direction and moving forward. You had the override, then you had the change of government, and now we have this incredible opportunity to get this matching money from the state to build this high school. And I think we have so much, momentum on our side. And thinking about how this high school came to be from the community school, how the town waited, how the town kept deferring maintenance and kept waiting until it was too late. I think we have a unique opportunity here to be different kinds of leaders and not just get the can down the road and not just wait until it gets worse. I think we have a chance to keep our progress going, take a bold stand, and knock this problem down any further, but take a stand, fix it, then get to the elementary school, then do the other things we need to do, but let's fix this problem that we have right here.
I get it, it's a big ask, but I don't want to sit here 5 years from now and we have to do something. Like, if we have an opportunity with reimbursement and support, why wouldn't we do it now?
I'm as fiscally conservative as anyone, but I think being fiscally conservative means spending the money wisely, not spending money. Essentially, with this vote, we're putting aside $2 million with the hope of getting $100 million or more. It's a pretty good return on investment. I'm no mathematician, but I like that math.
This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Gould?
No.
Mr. Logan?
Is it aye or yes?
Whatever you like. Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Awesome. The motion passes 8-1. Thank you, everybody.
The North Attleboro Fire Department is a long way from having new headquarters, but the first step was taken Monday night when funding for a feasibility study was approved by the town council. The vote was unanimous to transfer $125,000 from the town's capital improvement project account to fund the study.
Finance met last week, and we discussed this with Town Manager Borg and with Chief Coleman. The $125,000 would get us a feasibility study for location and setup of a new fire station, but it goes further than that. They look at the whole department, how they have everything staffed, where they have everything stored, response times, how a new station, new location could affect response times, how to best man all of the apparatus, where to have the apparatus. It goes more than just into that building itself. We end up with concept drawings after this is done, along with a talk of various locations and what is actually wrong with our current headquarters and how much it would cost for us to not do a new station but to maintain the current headquarters. How much money would we have to put it in? This is, with all studies, the first step in a longer, more expensive process, but one that we think is definitely due. It is not the first feasibility study, but we're not going to put this one on a shelf after the fact.
What's the lifespan of the study? You guys cover that? Sort of how long is it good for?
Council President, I don't believe that question was specifically asked in the regulation, but the shelf plans, it can be, depending on the current condition of the building of where they're at, right? And depending on the location that it selects, as long as there are no major changes in infrastructure, should have a good 5 years of life. The prices that will come with it will not be valid after that.
Yeah.
But it will give us, let's say we are not going to be able to support it financially if that were to happen, right? We'd have a good checklist of what it would require for the current station to upkeep, right? But it also then would give us an outline of the changes that we do need to make and where that location, as the Council Vice President indicated, and response times across the board and manning of our current apparatus and equipment.
That's what I wanted to hear. There's a lot of investments on the near future, so it's good to hear that this will be viable for a number of years. It's good. Protects us.
Have we selected the vendor to do the study? And so is this $125,000 the final cost, or is it up to $125,000?
Councilor Donovan, this is a selection. We conducted an RFQ process to start this and selected, and then we came to an agreement on price as a result of this.
After this, how much will be left in the capital improvement stabilization fund?
$500,000 approximately.
$500,000.
And Council President, just to kind of edify where all that money is, originally we put in 1.6 into the capital improvement stabilization. We've allocated from previous authorization for $1 million to go to the schools for their feasibility study. This would be 125, leaving around 475, around $500,000, depending on interest rates, because this money is invested.
Thank you. And just to clarify, that's separate from the town stabilization fund. This is specific for capital improvements. Take a motion.
I make a motion to approve measure 2023-41, approval of transfer of $125,000 from the capital improvement stabilization for the North Attleboro Fire Station feasibility study. This is a 2/3 majority vote.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This is going to be a roll call vote. Ms. Logan.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Shannon. Mr. Gregory. Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Aye. Justin Parra, I am an aye.
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 Mr. Donovan. Aye. All right, very good. So everyone has voted aye, which is a yes. So the motion passes 7-0.